So hey everyone, please let me know that you can hear me okay. I hope that this is loud enough. If it's not, let me know in the chat, and we'll start shortly because we're late today. So the good news is that it will probably be very incremental. It will not be hopefully very hard to follow because we will not make a huge amount of changes probably because of the time constraint. But what I want to do still is to go over the homeworks and see who did the best homework. So far I got 3 homeworks. Thank you for the response in the chat. We'll start open homework shortly. So the homeworks was, I will actually demonstrate what is expected result, and then I will show the homeworks just in a second. So there is the Everts, Christiana homework, and we had also Zaf homework, which is great. I want to show you a few things today, which should be very useful for all sorts of projects. Where is the Zaf project? Right, something strange is happening with my system. I will just copy it like that. Open. If at any moment, if you have questions regarding what we are discussing here or looking at, let me know in the chat. So just to remind you what we do, we try to step by step like copy some kind of common patterns that are found in systems like the WordPress, content management systems, or Drupal or something like that. So let me see, I need to run the project. Maybe I should actually run it in Chrome so that it'd be better to display how it looks like. Okay, so let's move to the Chrome. In Chrome there is some nicer tools for debugging styles. So if you have macOS, then Safari eats less battery, but at least but the Chrome have better tools. Like I would by default use Safari just because it takes less resources than Chrome, but then for other things to use Chrome. So here, let me go through our things. So I borrowed a little bit of piece of code from Everts as well, like so we could move faster. Like Everts was the one who made this table. We will improve the styles probably. I also added the button here for adding a new post. So this is kind of our blog, if you will. By the way, we should add also option to open view of each of those pages. Let me write it down, so we will do that a little bit later. Open view pages. And I added button to add new post. So if I add a new post here, so this will be then new, let me say February 1, and slug February 1, save. I get this new page with the February 1 in the URL. With a text here, and also notice that I have the delete button, but I also the edit button is not anymore the form post button, because it's not convenient to have the same functionality twice, to have it in the posts and also in the get functions. So if I press edit here, I get back into my form here, and if I add here February 1721, save, it did not update. Yeah, we'll need to check what happened there. We'll check that in a second, but that's what the expected result. So it should basically provide some user interface. I can delete it, return back to this page, and it seems like it did not delete it as well, which is really funny. We'll need to look at what's happening there, but that's no problem. At least in theory, like, what needs to be done. Okay, so that is that, and then let's look at the homeworks and then return to the template. I will share what I have with you, and then we will work from that along together. So let me see. I probably will need to switch between screens a little bit. So sketch. So I will have my screenshot tool. I will have the so the Jamboard, where I will put some comments. Hopefully, let's see what kind of comments we have. If you have any questions while we do this, don't hesitate to write in the chat. Okay, so this is this. Then, okay, let's go over Everett's code, which I checked already. So let's see. So first things first. So let's start with the home page. So the home page, nice job. I think this is quite fine. Of course, the styles. That's why we have the static main CSS. The styles in the future should not be in the style, but should be in the CSS files, because otherwise then it's hard to manage between the pages. So that is that. Otherwise, this is a very good job. Then in here, no, not in here, but here. So we have this part. Seems to be fine. Of course, no try catches, which is not so totally great, but it's fine. So that's fine. Then let's move on to the edit page. Now it starts getting fishy. So why would you ever need to have two forms here? Basically, if you have some very bright idea why would you need this, then please explain this to me. Otherwise, I would not say that this is not necessary at all. So basically, if you have post ID, right, then that means that that is existing post, right? So, and if you don't have post ID, that's a new post, and you can define pre-default values for these guys. So basically, this should work ever, like always, right? So it means that you basically don't need this part at all. So it just change basically this title depending on if you have post ID or not, or some other things, and you don't need to like copy large chunks of code just because it's like the same functionality. Basically, it's not necessary. So that is one thing. Let's go in here. So here is also something strange happening. It might be because I borrowed some piece of code from also Everett's. It might be that I will need to fix it as well, but basically there is a good thing. So the good thing is that you created this post ID that you can pass through the get, right? Because I requested you to create the href URL where you can click on link which opens the editing of the form. So and you get the post here, you get it here, and you get it here, right? So that is a good thing. But then the bad thing is that you still left some duplication, which creates a lot of problems in future if this would be a production system. Like, why would you ever need then this one, right? Like, if you already have post, why do this twice, right? Also here, like you already have things. Why would you want to have it twice? Like illogical duplication. So I like, if this would be a production system, I would be really not happy that there is like you know, if you sit down and think about it a little bit, you can make much better code. So again, similar pattern as some time before. Like Everett's code usually works, so he gets the job done, but at the same time it could be improved. So please improve for next time. So that is that. Let's move on to the next piece of code. Let me see. So we'll drop here for a moment. So Christiana's code. Okay, so time constraints, I will not run all of these codes, but I will just go over them. So I try to help out by commenting it. So here, let's go to the home page. So the home page is missing the post listing as Everett's did. So that's a shame, but let's keep looking. Okay, so we're missing that. What we can do next is probably editing part, right? So so there is the editing part, and so this is basically alternative way. So Everett's did with the get function, right? So Everett's way was to add here the post ID in the URL itself, right? So that is not wrong. You can do that. And also this way is also not wrong, basically, but this is a little bit difficult way, because then you need, every time when you want to pass the post ID to this for post edit, you always need to have this input line, you need to have form, but with Everett's way you can just have one link, right? So that is difference, but this way is not totally wrong, it's just difficult. So you add it in this way, fine. Let's look what you have in the controller. Okay, so there is some, so you're delivering some variable to the home page, to this page. Okay, there is the post edited message, so that's nice. So you understood how to do that, so that's great. Okay, let's look here. So you have delete action, you have edit action. By the way, here, of course, one thing is, it's always not a good idea to have comments like that, commented blocks of code. So it's better not to include commented blocks of code if there is like not specific need for that. Like it's never need for that. Like that's why you use Git and some tools to avoid the commented code. But anyways, so here what is necessary is else if, because so you cannot have the situation when this part executes and then this part executes as well. So it's either that, so there is an else if. So that's one. So let's see what else you have here. Edit. So there is the edit stuff. Then you did not deliver any information to the form to edit anything. So there is a new post here. Let me see what is here. So you try to do something with this part and the new post part. So you could use the same HTML for both, but let me go here and explain what is missing here. Where was it? Yeah, so let's start adding some things which are missing. So first of all, if you want to edit something, right, then it's not enough to have only the post ID here. So with the post ID in the form itself, like probably will not be enough. So if you get it here, post, okay, so anyways, I see what you're doing. So this is also not, this is tricky way. So what you did here are multiple things. So first, let's start step by step. So first of all, this is not necessary at all. So this does not make sense. So what I mean by does not make sense is that if you want to update something, then you need also information what you want to update, because now you're just having what is my post ID, and I cannot like with the post ID I don't update any like title, body or anything else, just there is post ID. So that is not needed at all. So that's one. So then I see that you tried to redirect yourself from post method for getting the post ID to get method. Basically what happens here is following. Let's take a different color. So your code went to the post, then it went down here, and then you do the redirect back to this form using get, and then you get your post here, but we are missing here the variable. So if you have here defined post ID, then also in these brackets you must have some landing point where you will receive that variable. Otherwise there is variable without any way to receiving it. So that is that. Okay, this is tricky because you are having like a kind of loop. You first post the ID to the form, then redirect back to the form using post ID, then you get back here. But then the last missing piece here is that, so not maybe only the last one, but here if I want to edit something, right, I need a form, and I don't see any form here, actually only here in the bottom part. So if in this way, if I want to edit here, I need to pass also post itself. So post. So this object, this instance of an object will be sent to the HTML form where I can display the information from that post. Nothing happens automatically here, even though sometimes it looks like that something happens automatically in Python and in Flask. Nothing happens automatically. If you don't define post, that is passed to some HTML rendering template, it will never get passed automatically. Nothing will work. So basically, you need to pass that there. And okay, so this whole stuff is under the post. Probably also this section should be separated somehow, because that is the insert section. So this is new post section, not adding, not editing. But it could be actually also for editing, basically. So maybe not too bad, but only this later part should be segmented out, because of course that is not editing. Okay, so a lot of things. So basically the main problem with your code is all of this function, which it seems like that you don't really understand how you pass variables to the form. I will try to explain that in detail again. Okay, so that is that. Let's go back into Xaph code. So, okay, so this is Xaph's code. Let's see what he has. So the home part, okay, nicely done. That is good. Oh yeah, nice. Xaph, remember to add to that you can open your link, but you could actually add it just directly over your title. You know, like normally people do it like this way, right? Actually, I will copy this also in my template. We'll borrow this probably. Let me see, how can I move this to my template? Okay, here. So I will borrow your code here. I also will see that the code that I borrowed from, there is a problem here like this. From the efforts, there is th means table header. If you want to have cells, then you use td. I don't know what d means, but anyways. So don't use th for cells, only td for cells. So th are headers, tds are cells. So that is that. Let's go back to the Xaph's code. I can start slowly closing stuff. Okay, efforts closed. Right, Xaph code. So this part seems fine. Oh, what is this? Button, open. So normally people do not do this. So because in many browsers and situations, this would fail. So basically the better way to doing this, even though I understood that you wanted to have a nice button there, which is good idea, and you added some JavaScript stuff here, but this is large overkill and it just creates a lot of instability. So instead what you use is class, some kind of button style. So you can simulate that your link looks like a button with CSS. So that is what you do normally. And then href to normal, to normal post edit, right? So basically that is what you should do. So please try to avoid whenever possible something like that, especially in some production systems. Like this kind of code is super easy to there is some kind of ad block or something that will just not allow you to execute some kind of JavaScript, like opening pages, something will not render correctly, then there will be an error. So, and this part also seems strange. So the self, that means that you will not open it at the new page. So it's especially bad function. So if you would like to use it in the JavaScript, then you should have used window location href. So that is another way how to do this in JavaScript, but never ever using this kind of window open. No. That is something that ad blockers will block you to execute, and you will end up with a lot of problems. So do not use that in any production system, please. So that is that. Then the edit. Okay, very nice job. This is very good job. I mean, you created just one form for both operations. Then this part, you could have avoided having such a complicated syntax here. And what else? So Save changes, save new, right? So that's fine. So there is a nice touches, right? It's from the one point of view, like you can just ensure that always you get those values, so you don't need to check them even. You know, like if you ensure that the form always gets these values, then you don't need to check them. So that is one. But also here you can just reuse the same one. So could reuse same like the post edit basically function, posts edit post. So that is one. And also these ones unnecessary, right? So that is that. But otherwise very good. Then also another thing, I was a little bit surprised that that Zaf is doing, because I think he understands a little bit more Flask. So basically I will need to explain you that there is a way how to construct templates that you don't need always to repeat this header part. So you can create that this header part is always added to your each template like using the system, not that you need to copy it manually. So that could be also improved a little bit. So that is that. Let's see then in the controller side. So you have two functions. It's not totally bad, but you could reuse just one function. Where is the edit? So there is delete, updated, fine. Yeah, seems okay, basically, but you could just use one function. So I would say that my like arrangement for today is that like Zaf has the best work, then very close Everts, and then Cristiano, which I appreciate that she tries at least. So others even did not submit the code. So I assume that they have even more problems. So anyway, so let's move on to today's topic. I will quickly share the template for today. Okay, so this is probably not the code which I wanted. Let me see. Okay, so this is the one, right. We'll not have a lot of time left, unfortunately, but at least we will do a few things, and I will explain what we can do for homework. Again, it will not be a huge homework, but already explained a few things should be updated from your homeworks that you submitted this time. Okay, so this is session 5. Trying now to upload to my server. Okay, got it. So I'm dropping the link in the chat and also in the notes of this video. So template session 5 zip is session 5 ready for work. So let me know in the chat, and meanwhile I will quickly look up what is wrong with the updating part, because as you noticed that it did not update when I actually tried to update something. I saw that it did enter new stuff, but it did not update. So let's see. I'll quickly look at that. So I have also, it did not delete, I think, which is strange. So save. Okay, so I got it here. Body, yes, I have the body. Post ID. Okay, post ID is 0. This is not good. Where did I got the post ID? From here. How did this happen? Okay, so that is the edit form. Right, I was talking so much about that post ID thing, which I forgot to add it myself here. So I will add in the chat as well what you need to do. So here in the form action needs to be the second parameter in the edit page. So I'm dropping that, the one bug fix in the Jamboard. I don't see response regarding the session file, which is strange. Hopefully you can catch up with this. So the post edit like that. Okay, let's see, I've restarted. Start running again. You'll see, so this is 0 because that was the same previous wrong request. Run again. Try from the home page. So in the home page, oh, there is something more not working. So I will need to fix a few extra things. Okay, so now post ID, yes, I got the post ID with that bug fix which I just posted in the Jamboard as well. So let me see, so this is a February, let's add Z here, save, yes, it works. So by adding the small change that I just showed you, so basically in the form, adding the URL post action includes also post ID, now it works. So basically what it means, maybe I should explain it more, maybe it seems like that from what I have shown so far, it's not clear enough, at least for yeah, from the homeworks. So the idea is that this part, what the action part is coming as a get, so this is, you can get all of this information from URL, so URL slash get information. So you can get it from, remember those URL tokens, some kind of token, or using the this request get function, so you can get it in that way. And the other part, if I have a post here, then these guys, all of the names here, are get from the post function. So the get function is visible to user in URL. The post function is not visible in user in URL. So that is one of the differences. Okay, so that is good. Then I have another bug in the view, something here. So it's not okay. So not this one, but home. So posts, post you, post log, something did not work with this stuff. When I tried to open it, it did not open something. Let me see what is wrong here. Posts, view, posts, post you, post you, this is correct. Post URL slug seems to be fine. Let me see. So it's not adding the URL slug for some reason. Post you, let me see. Post you, URL slug, fine, it is there. What else could be here, the problem? So to check if what is happening, I will just quickly add the URL slug here, just for the testing purposes. Yes, it's empty. So my get function that I borrowed from Evert seems not to have the slug for some reason, or maybe there's my own bug. Let me see. Oh, the slug exists, it's just not given. If somebody knows where is the problem quicker than me, you can definitely help me. So the get posts all, yes, so this is a problem. I borrowed this code from Evert's, I think, and this is something wrong here. So the values does not match with the reality. Okay, so we have post ID title created, and this guy is called actually URL slug. Again, you see how brokeable is the how easy to break is the the Python, because it doesn't check the types. If I would try to run this in C++, TypeScript, it will create an error, but here it just doesn't create an error. So I can use wrong variable names. So I will add this also to the Jamboard. Need to be fixed. These few things here. Okay, try to run it again. see what we get. So can I oh no, something is not right. I have still something, I guess. So the URL slug, right, this is funny. Okay, I will add here a breakpoint. Try to refresh the page. So the post, what I have in the post, URL slug none. So the status, thumbnail, URL slug, row, what is the row contents? Yeah, so that is not existing in that post, so that's fine actually. Post you, did you forget to specify URL slug? There is something still not working. That was definitely a bug, but there is some other bug here. Okay, let me see if I am again dropping the post slug here. Okay, it's not wanting to run. Stop fighting with me. Not wanting to run, but that's no problem. We will break this. Was not expecting to be stuck with such a stupid thing. So post title, let's see, post URL slug, I will just write it here. For meanwhile, delete this, see what I have in those values. Okay, none, and then some values. Right. I think it doesn't like that there is some post slugs without slugs them at all, just none. URL slug, URL post slug, URL slug. So everything seems to be fine. So the only explanation is that the post URL slug, I need to check if this is none. Then in this case, I just want to add it like an empty string. So it will, like, of course, it will not work for some posts, but at least it will not break the code, hopefully. So let me see. Yeah, so now it works. Okay, there's another update needed. Okay, this was not trivial because the error appeared on the HTML part, even though it was caused by the database. So that is that. Okay, so let's move on now to some new things. So one of the new things which I explained you already multiple times is that the structure for opening, closing, cursors, connections, really nasty. Like you need to always copy and repeat all sorts of things. So what instead would be nicer way to do this is using some some wrapper class. So we can define our own wrapper class. That would be really interesting. But I think that will be maybe the main thing for today that we can do. And so I think that then what will be really interesting task is if you fix everything that we have right now so far, I will give you like a quick link to the way how to create templating system so that you don't need to repeat the header in every page, that it's only once repeated, and then you can create a little bit nicer styles. So next time you could work a little bit more on styles. But before working on styles, and this will be really interesting because I want to see what you understand and what you don't. So before working on styles, let's create what I just told about that utility. So we'll create a new folder, which will be utils. So this will be utility functions. And then what the utility which you want to create is, let's call it util cursor, util database cursor, cursor. So this will be our new class. This will be class util database cursor, and I will create like a very, pattern, like the common syntax which is used to reduce this kind of noise with having like cursor close, cursor open, and this connection and stuff like that. We can just create it all of that much simpler way. So, and to create it in a simpler way, we will use the Python functions, which are really interesting. So these operator functions. So one operator which we will of course use is a constructor initialization, right? So if it's not, there is no like superclass, then it's even not necessary to write the super in it, right? But if you want to be technically correct, we should add that part as well. So if at some point later I will create here in the brackets some kind of superclass, right? Then this code will automatically call the constructor to the superclass. So that is that. Then let's create some variables here inside, which will be used. So there is the connection, right? Connection. So let's use the connection variable. We'll copy this guy. So I need this one. So the SQLite self connection. So this will be inside that part. Then let's create also this nasty cursor. So by the way, cursor is useful because you can create the transactions. What I mean by transactions is that you have multiple inserts or deletes that you need to run, and if some of them fail, you want to roll back all of your changes in database. That is a transaction. So, and you can achieve that using all of these structures like cursors, transactions, connections. So that's why it's useful basically. So then we will use another very interesting stuff. So if you understand how this works, you can use it in many ways in Python, very useful stuff. So overriding the enter function. So the enter function is happening when you are using with operator. So that is really useful. So let's see, so there is a connection happening. So I created a connection, then I need to create a cursor as well, okay. So let's try to write this stuff up. So self connection, and I can simulate the with also here using this direct syntax. Then I can write self cursor from the connection itself. So this is nice, and then I need to return the cursor itself. Self cursor. Then the last thing is, so let me write a comment what it is. So this part means that if I write with instance as what it does, right? Yeah, as something, then in this case this enter function will execute. Of course, this part executes, as you know, when I create a new instance. So instance equals util database cursor, right? Then this part executes. If I write this line, then this part executes. Now, if I exit the scope of the line which I just wrote before, then the exit function executes. So, but for the exit function, I need a lot of stuff here, which PyCharm automatically generates. So this is this. Then I need to exit these other guys. So first, oh, okay. So what was it? So I need to close the cursor first. So self cursor, but I think I can also just exit it, or should I close it? Okay, let me close it. So close. That's one. Then the connection, there is an exit for the connection. Exit these guys, like that. Okay, nice, done. So this is the structure for making the database cursor simpler. I will show you how to use it just in a second. So I don't have time. I will put this in the Jamboard, and you need to carefully write it down. And then I just show you how to use it, and then you need to apply it to other functions as well. So let me see. So if I go in now in the database, by the way, I will not need this anymore. So you need to delete this stuff, for example. So there is the update. Let me see. So get all posts. Let's convert this function. So to convert this function, what we need to just to do is, so I will just use this utils. Where is my utils? utils database cursor. I need to import it, Alt Enter, import. With Alt Enter you can import in this, you know, like the PyCharm. So now I change this as cursor. I can delete now this part. I can delete now this part. And that's about it, basically super simple. I don't need any more to close something, to open something, to like keep track of pointers. I just create a new instance of this this object, define it as cursor, and then use this clever with part to make it work using the enter and exit functions. So now I need to just test it if it actually works. Yeah, it works. So that is great. So now I'm adding this also to the Jamboard. We'll try to explain few things here. So this is on the slide number 7. So again, I think for beginners this might be some parts very confusing. So for example, this one. So this is not some kind of magic syntax. This is just creating a new object. So what I mean by that is I can just delete it from here. So not like that, but I can delete it from here. I can create it before, so there will be instance of new object, right? Like this, and then use it here. This would work exactly the same way. So the structure of Python itself means that there is a with and there is an as. Even it works without as, by the way. I can use it like this, but then I'm missing the cursor here, right? I need that cursor. That's why I have the as there. So that is the syntax. There is the enter, exit functions, right? So you need to change all of your other database codes using this simplified method of overriding these cursors. By the way, I encourage you, you could play around also with other these kind of operator overrides. So for example, one fun operator override is call. So this is used also in many libraries basically. So call, if I write here print pretend to be a function. So this call operator is really funny because it also is really counterintuitive. It can make really bad problems. Of course, first of all, already this looks like a function call, but actually is creating a class in Python. If we would write in JavaScript, it would be very easy that we write a new and then we understand that that's a class. But in Python, the class and the function call looks the same. And now, if I override the call, I can do this. So call override. And I can pass even some parameters, some funny parameters, right? So you should definitely explore what you can do with those override operators. You can override all sorts of things like plus signs, minus signs, like the simulating if this is a function, right? There's a lot of things you can do. But for this task, this is not that necessary. So for those of you who feel confident and want to learn quickly more, definitely explore that part. So for the homework, you will need to work on styling. You will need to work on templates. I will provide some material regarding the templates and fix the database structure here. And next week, we will start working on hierarchies. So that's about it for today. Sorry, that's a little bit short, but you know, like it's a crazy period right now for me. So let's talk in next week. Hopefully, we will have more homeworks. Let's see, maybe I should start keeping track of who is the best one in multiple sessions.